you. Microphone to Ellie, please.
My question is, do you believe that too much pressure is put specifically on students regarding taking their GCSEs? Because this was highlighted in our film and in recent articles outlining that school has turned into a living nightmare for teenagers, especially girls.
So too much pressure for exams. It's the exams. Without the exams, life would be lovely. Yeah? Let's see who wants to answer that one. Ken, your face is a picture. Let's go to Ken, shall we?
I understand, even from my memory, I remember what it was like being 16, 18 and taking exams. And I'm one of those souls who has continued to learn and has continued, even up until 5 years ago, to do another degree. So I'm one of those silly people who continues to put themselves under pressure. Is that unfair? Because actually it's almost a requirement that if I want to continue to develop me as a person, my performance as a manager, I need to continue to study, I need to continue to learn. That comes back to the drive in the first place to want to continue, and part of that drive is the expectation that I'm going to put myself under pressure. Difference there is, I suppose I'm making that adult bit that says, I am putting myself under the pressure because it's I who want to continue. Whereas I absolutely understand the peer pressure that exists at 16 amongst a huge cohort of children to put your head above that parapet and say, yes, here I am. So I have every degree of empathy. It doesn't go away, however.
Do you remember the exam pressure? Do you think it's worse today?
No, I don't. I mean, right from the day you go to school, you know you're going to take exams. In my days, when I went to primary school, I knew I was going to take the 11 plus. When I left primary school, I knew there was exams at the end of it, end of term exams. So I don't think there's any more pressure. I think what the pressure is, that there's a lot more expected of students now. When I look at jobs now, and I think, and I see the qualifications you're supposed to require, and the degrees, I think, my God, what on earth is going on? Why do you need that to do that job? And I know when I left school, you could change careers at a whim, you know, as a newspaper advert, you say, oh, I fancy that. And I think employers sometimes have got to look at the requirements they're putting on. I think that's where the pressure is. I don't think there's any more pressure that I face, that you're facing. I think what the pressure is when you're thinking beyond that exam of what you want to do with your career. And I think at times they forget to look at what sort of person you are, what abilities you've got. They want to see what that bit of paper says. And I think that's where we've got it wrong, because at times that bit of paper doesn't mean anything because there's a gem of a person there. If they could show those life skills, if they could show that personality and that character.
Can I add on to that? I'd like to say that I think students should take stress as an exercise, because if we think about it, if we exercise, then we can get better at something. Say if we, from a student point of view, if we did a subject topic, say maths, and we did a question and we were learning out how to solve this answer, we get better at it. If we take stress and then we keep applying it to our everyday life, we'll eventually know how to get around it, and then it will lead to being able to take on more stress. But I think what you're talking about, like on-point pressure, it relates to parents keep going on at the students saying like, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that, which is also raised in the film. Also, the influence of teachers saying this as well. I think that's what builds the pressure.
So it's coming at you from both sides.
It's coming at you from everywhere, yeah.
We've got some parents in the audience. We'll ask them in a moment what they think about this and their role in it all. Jane?
I think there's a difference between stress and pressure. And I think some pressure on us to move forward is going to move us more quickly. And it's when that pressure becomes stress and we feel that we're reaching our breaking point, that something's gone wrong somewhere. So I would just like to make that distinction between stress and pressure. I would also just like to sort of turn a bit philosophical and say that I think stress is just how, she says glibly, how we internalise what's happening to us externally. So it's all to do with how we respond to what's happening to us externally. The other point I would just like to make is that wonderful saying that learning is fun has been lost. And the sense that learning is fun, if we could somehow recapture that, it would be so wonderful. And like Ken here, I continue to learn. I had no GCSEs because I have O-levels, the old exams that we took before GCSEs. And I thought, I think I need a GCSE. So let me think now, about 6 or 7 years ago, I thought, I think I'll get a GCSE in Spanish. So I went over to the Suffolk College, I got GCSE in Spanish.
But you see, that's the thing, as Ken was saying, as an adult, you
My
choose
choice,
to do it. I
yes.
chose to do an Open University
Yes.
degree. But you have to do it when you're in
Yes.
school, don't you?
But
Can I
it's that
come-
learning is fun, isn't it? That's what we're missing.
Are you saying that, do you agree that learning is no longer fun?
No, not at all.
I
No,
thought you might say that.
I didn't get a job in South Yorkshire once because I told the panel that I thought the students should have fun, and apparently I mentioned fun too many times. I think learning is fun. I think any good classroom, any good institution where there's a humour and enjoyment, they generally go together. I do think we need to learn to chill out a bit. I think girls particularly need to learn to chill out a bit. I've got a daughter and 2 sons, and my daughter absolutely wants perfection in everything that she does, and it doesn't matter how many times myself and my wife say, calm down, Abigail, it doesn't matter if you drop a mark. It's very hard to persuade her. I don't have that problem with my 2 sons. Now, and I think we brought them up the same way, so I think as parents, I think we need to accept, we need to almost give our daughters permission to have fun and chill out at certain times. Perhaps the boys, not always.
Thank you. Right, any parents here would like to come in on this? Because you see what it's like from that side. Yes, just behind you there.
I had a son who did GCSEs last year, and I found it one of the most stressful periods of my whole life.
Stressful for you or for him?
For me, for him.
In what way?
You worry, have they done enough work? Do they know what they're doing? Have they done their homework? You know, do you know what you're doing next week? Do you know when your exams are? You worry constantly. And I wondered what effect that would have on the young people. And how best you think that parents should support their children instead of constantly asking them those sorts of questions.
Callum, let's turn to you now.
I definitely, I'll support your question. I believe that parents should support their children instead of just continuously asking questions. I mean, I get that from my family.
What do you mean by support?
Okay,
Making
so-
cups of tea or what?
Yes. No, what I mean is maybe if they have knowledge on the subject they're revising, go and give them a hand. I don't understand why that should be a problem, but like you're saying, learning should be fun, so why can't revision be fun? If parents can help revise with their children, then I think that will also boost their confidence and obviously their knowledge in the subject. But I agree with your argument there.
I think I'm just looking, but my sons are in their 30s now, late 30s, and they left me way behind with their exams. I couldn't understand half of the notes, so I don't think that'd have been any help at all. Much happier making the cups of tea, I have to say. Any other comments from parents particularly, but anyone else on the floor as well?
Can I?
Yes, please do.
I think we should learn to trust our offspring a bit more. And I think some of the staff in schools should learn to let go and take a few risks. They actually can multitask really well. So when you're worried, I'm speaking from the heart as a parent here, when you're worried that they're watching TV, texting, online, social media, whatever it might be, and revising, they can do all that sometimes.
So clever.
Just let them get on with it, because if all you do is nag and keep asking them, have you done any work, it really does grate. And I've made mistakes there as a parent, and I think the more we trust and work in partnership at all levels will probably lead to less stress.